Well, TTC riders are on notice. Starting in the fall, the transit agency will be rolling out its new fare inspection protocol. The TTC's Stuart Green joins us now live with more details on this. So, Stuart, pretty significant fines. How big of an issue is fare evasion for the TTC?
Well, we know that going back through the Auditor General's report from a few years ago that fare evasion costs us, well, in 2019 and 2018, it was costing us around $60 million, every year. So it was obviously something we have to do something about. Now, during the pandemic, obviously, our revenue has dropped just because there are fewer people riding. But, now we're at the point where we are ready to reintroduce not just fare inspection, which we have been doing, but issuing warnings and reminders, but actually starting to issue tickets again. And this is a way to recoup, that revenue and make sure that people are paying their right fare, because, we expect people to pay a fare when they ride the TTC. It's not a free service. And 97% of our customers do pay their fare, and that's great news. But there are small numbers that we see getting on streetcars in particular, where you have all-door boarding. So that's really where our focus will be in terms of the ticketing and enforcement piece.
And I'm sure as ridership sort of starts to come back, as more and more people start coming back to work, coming back to the downtown, or coming back to, quite frankly, anywhere in the city, that more and more people are going to get on. But I suppose that means more people are going to sort of potentially try to evade the fares. So what are the new fines, and how are these new fare evasion fines different from the earlier days, shall we say?
Yeah, so the fine structures will be the same. It's maximum of about $425 if you evade fare. That's sort of a top price. There are other ways that we can penalize people. We'll be able to issue written warnings, for example, and cautions. There are other fines that we can issue, but $425 is sort of that top level of fine that you would get. And really, the new protocol that we're introducing is more about some concerns that we heard expressed about diversity. And inclusion, and making sure that that the process that we use is fair to all of our customers, because that was something that was raised. We've been working with a couple of University of Toronto professors, some experts in diversity and inclusion, to really guide us as we prepare these protocols. So we'll also be doing, one of the other things we'll be doing is we'll be preparing and we'll be collecting data that allows us to see who's riding the TTC. When we issue those cautions, we'll collect that data on a very equitable basis, though, not just randomly checking people.
Are you able to give any specifics, Stuart, in terms of the new sort of policies? I've got a quote here from a CP24 article. You're quoted saying, prior to the pandemic, fare enforcement was being done in a way that wasn't treating people fairly based on their race or gender. So are you able to give us any specific details on how differently people will be treated based on race, gender, or any other potential factor?
So I don't think I said that that's how it was being done. I said there was a perception that it was being done in a way that wasn't fair and equitable, and that is something that we have to address. We've got a huge impetus now on diversity and inclusion at the TTC. We've hired our first ever chief diversity officer. She's very heavily involved in the preparation of this protocol, as well as, I say, outside experts, Arlene Huggins, who many people will know. So these are people that are going to guide us and help us to make sure that our processes and our protocols, how we approach people, how we record their information, all of that is done through an equity and diversity lens to make sure everyone is treated fairly.
Okay, TTC Stuart Green joining us live to talk more about the new fare evasion plans and protocols. Appreciate the time, Stuart. Thanks.
Thanks, Nick.